I do find it fascinating that people think I'm the go-to when they've got a wine question. It is flattering, but it's also intimidating because I, like everybody else, research, Google, learn by experience. The nice thing with wine is I learn a lot by experience. The more you drink it, the more you learn about it. So my brother phones me the other day, and he's like, "Hey, what's this?" And so it was a WhatsApp call. So he showed me a device. I didn't know what this thing was, but something looked like this that gave me kind of a clue as to what he might be holding in his hands. He said to me, "What is this?" I said, "Oh, well, it's obviously some kind of aerator. But let me see, has it got another piece missing?" "No," he says, "there's no other piece missing." So long and short, the only way I could tell was this bit at the end. But what it didn't have is on this end, because my aerator is, he's got a fancier aerator actually. My aerator has just got a nozzle like this, so I simply pop the bottle in here. I'm going to use this is the Eagle's Nest Shiraz that I opened last night. But quite simply, this one is a lot easier. It's made for fools like me, because now you've lodged the aerator into the wine bottle and then you can pour. What's that about? But yeah, as I said, when you decant the wine, it helps release some of the flavors in simple terms, and it also softens the tannins. That's one of the benefits of doing it, which is why you do it with any red wine in particular, because red wine would have had skin contact. I think you can even decant white wine. I've never tried it. The only thing that you mustn't decant is bubbles. So please, that's not a cool thing. Where the exposure to oxygen does create an interesting relationship with the wine is it softens the tannins. The aromatics are also released, and personally for me, I'm not that sharp in terms of what I can pick up in terms of the fruits and the notes. But what I can definitely pick up is a difference when I've aerated the wine in terms of relative to the tannins. So if the wine has a high tannin structure, it just settles that a bit so that you can actually get to taste more of the wine in terms of its berries or its leather or its tobacco or whatever other notes that you can pick up. You are watching the channel of champions. Okay, enough fooling around. Let's open this bottle and let me get my kit. So I have got to be gentle with this. One would argue I should not be laying it on the ground as I do that, but I will. And I've got to be very gentle with the cork, which is why I'm using this wine opener, because if I use my waiter's friend, the last thing I want to do is go in at an angle and be skew and then rip the cork on the way up. Because what I don't even know is how this cork is going to have held over this time. So far so good. I'm coming out gently. Yeah, Kanonkop, it's a very interesting thing. There we go. Now we've got this bottle. I love how that happens actually. But, now the whole thing about decanting is it's just about the oxidation, because the wine, oh, this smells lovely. I'm just smelling berries at the moment, and that's from here. But you do want the wine to breathe a little bit, because I'm not sure what the aging potential would have been on this. Yeah, there is sediment. I can see some sediment here, which is good, because then I'm going to catch it over here into the sift in itself. But so if you'll see now, I don't know if you can see that residue that's at the bottom there. You don't want to be drinking that. You know, you could be having a great wine experience and then you get to that and then well, filter, you can call it a sifter or whatever you want. I've got this one that I was using because then you can catch some of the sediment in here, particularly if it's cork as well, because cork can also break when you open your wine. But it's nice because this one sits nicely on top of the decanter, and then I just simply pour in there in terms of then aerating the wine. But Tubby's one had actually a mini filter that went inside the aerator in itself, which can also then help you catch all the sediment if you're not awake as you're pouring. But you definitely want to decant your older wines for a couple of reasons. One is the oxidation, and the other one is to make sure that you don't get any of the sediment that's in the wine going into glass, because there's nothing as, and it happens, you're right at the end of the wine and you're sipping and you're enjoying and you're sipping, and then you just suddenly get that sediment that came from the wine, which is not a bad thing by itself, the sediment, and it's not bad for you, but it completely crashes the wine tasting experience. So a decanter, what typically you'll see when the sommeliers decant, they're looking at the bottle, they're looking at the neck, because they're trying to see that the sediment does not fall into the wine. Decanting is not to be frowned upon or seen as the pomp. I've actually, especially now, I'm more convinced that don't just aerate your wine if it's old or you're worried that it's been sitting in that bottle too long or well stored. And we're going to talk about storage in a different video. But the fact that taking any bottle of wine, young or old, for different reasons, the oxidation is actually helping the wine in terms of expressing itself. It's something that I think is a true gem or a hidden secret that I didn't quite exploit enough, which I will be doing more of going forward. Cheers. Here's to another one.